guys, welcome back to another Rustomod Garage video. If you guys haven't been following along, we are building a Rambler station wagon into a high performance sleeper streetcar, and we are building the chassis out of a C4 Corvette. So on the last few episodes, we pulled the floor out of a Lincoln Aviator and we got our frame completely assembled and almost ready to be put underneath of our Rambler body. So in this episode, we are going to be getting the body ready to be put on top of our frame. But before I get into the video, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe so we can continue to make cool builds like this Rambler here. Currently, we're working on 5 other projects just like this Rambler that we're going to be filming after we finish this one. So make sure you guys stick around, comment, subscribe, so you'll be up to date on the next builds that we have after we finish this Rambler up. Before we get into the video, I want to tell you guys about Shop Nights. So Shop Nights is an open house event that we're having on July 29th, and we want to see all the rides that you guys have, and we want to meet you guys at our shop here in Southern Maryland. So make sure you mark your calendars if you guys are in the area to come by our shop at Shop Nights on July 29th. Back to the video. So I wanted to throw this picture up here. It's a door tag on the Rambler, and it's interesting because the Rambler is a single unit construction. Today we call these unibody cars, and this makes it pretty unique back in the day because most things were body on frame back then. So this is going to be a challenge for us because we have to put a frame underneath of a car that doesn't have a frame technically. So this is kind of the idea behind the way that we're building the Rambler, and becomes more apparent when you see us chopping this thing in pieces. So to start the teardown process, we're going to pull everything off that we do need, like the front fenders and then the grill and stuff that we need, the hood, and then we'll pull these pieces off, put them to the side, and then cut out all the stuff that we don't need, the Rambler existing structure that we're going to be replacing with our structure that we made. Now you can see some of these bolts that are just super rusted into place, and I had to actually cut a lot of them just to get them off. This car isn't the most solid car. You can see when we start tearing this thing apart, the floors are completely shot in it, and then we find some more rust underneath once we start removing some of these pieces.
Look at that.
I know.
That'd be cool if we saw a bullet. Yeah, look at the hole. See, we can in the back side of the. This is the unibody frame. I was thinking we were going to use that. I didn't realize the whole back of that was gone, right? Because that's the one with your tilt hood. I need about that much of that, but that's all gone. I was worried about the cutting on the inside. Here, the whole outside's not even there. Guess that's why they came up with plastic fender liners. Look at that mess. But here's why it's rusted all the way through the top of the fender, right here.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? It's like
glue.
Huh?
It's glue or something.
Just the dirt and the water. But you don't have. Look at that mess.
Look at that.
So I know, but the actual regular heater hoses went over there somewhere. Where was the heater cord? But anyway, it was over that way. And then there's another pair of heater hoses that run down through there somewhere. We've not been able to find them yet. Oops. That's crazy. Look at that. That's why there's Rustomod. Alright, there it is. 2 weeks from power tour from yesterday. So finally going to roll it in and start hacking up the body inside and get it up, fitted up to the chassis. See ya.
Alright, so now we're kind of back up to date. So we tore the Rambler apart and started building the frame alongside while we were doing that. So now we're kind of back to current time where we're getting ready to cut the entire Rambler apart and get it ready to be put onto our frame. By this time we've already removed the dash and full interior because we had to measure that stuff with a ferro arm, and then we removed the doors and everything else just for ease of access of getting in and out of the car while we're cutting it up. So now we're getting ready to put it onto our lift and then start the disassembly process. So now it's getting exciting. So the Rambler rolls in for the last time under its old suspension, and the next time it'll be rolling out of the shop will be on our new chassis. Alright, so we're going to have to disassemble this entire car. We gotta cut out the firewall, the floor, the whole front suspension. So in order for it not to bend and lose its shape, that way it's the original shape it was whenever we measured it. And it will keep anything from breaking because the roof technically will be the only thing holding the car together. And this is what it looks like once the entire exo cage is installed.
Alright, we got a week in like 3 days or something like that. We're finally getting the body exoskeleton on there, and it's all ready to go. Getting ready to lift and hack off the front end, and then we'll pull the floor and roll the chassis under it, so we're able to lift with that outside the car, because we're going to be able to drop the body while we're putting the cage on it. We can let us just leapfrog over top of the cage. just by switching a couple of tubes around.
Alright, so now we begin by cutting the entire front of the car off. So we really want to maintain some of the wheel well shape. That way we have some structure for the fenders to bolt to. So we have to trim out where the coil spring original Rambler suspension bolts to, and then while maintaining the mounts and everything for the fenders. So we trim out these pieces and then try to get this whole front section to be able to pop off. Crazy. Here, just go straight out. That's pretty cool. So now we got the whole front piece of the Rambler cut off. You can see where the original suspension mounts to, and then all that will be gone away, and we'll be keeping this piece, which is the hood attachment, and then the fender well attachments where the fenders will mount to the existing pieces of the Rambler frame.
Alright, front end's gone. Get ready to whack out the back. Didn't have to do a whole lot of cutting. There was nothing left.
Alright, so now we're going to lift the car up, and then we're going to start cutting the entire floor out. So we use a variety of tools. Probably the most common will be the plasma cutter that lets us cut it evenly in a straight line, and then sawzalls and a bunch of other stuff to be able to get the whole floor out. The plasma cutter doesn't work too well on rusty areas, so we use the sawzall and some spots, but it's pretty interesting to see the inside of the frame. There's a lot of strengthening in the design of the frame originally, which is pretty neat, and then since it's all rotted, you can kind of see how bad this car was, and we're not cutting up a really nice old Rambler. This thing's pretty rough shape and would be a lot to get it to be back on the road in its original condition. Alright, and just like that, the entire floor is cut out. Look at the cool dimple die setup they did on the inside of the rocker panels and stuff to just add some strength to the existing Rambler frame. It was pretty neat. This frame structure that they had is a really neat design. It was probably really sturdy back in the day, but unfortunately it was just so rusted that it all had to be removed. So some of the floor section, like this crossover tunnel over the rear axle, we're actually going to reuse that. So we're cutting pieces like this out that we can put back into the floor once we put our frame that we made underneath back in. And then, like I said before, we made a full custom firewall to fit our Camaro and Corvette steering column and everything. So this Rambler firewall will be removed also. And now it is done. So at the beginning of this video, we rolled this car in. It was an original 1961 Rambler, and now it is just a shell of scrap metal. The roof, the doors, the rear quarters, and then the front fenders are all that's left on this thing. That's Rambler. So everything else is going to be replaced by our custom frame. We had to cut out and clearance a lot of stuff to be able to fit our tires, our wheel well gaps and everything, so it could fit properly. So now we are going to be able to set this thing down to our frame and start fabricating that section. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.